Hello, gasaholics. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got Gas, the Great American Auto Scene. Since 1990, your source for automotive information, some humor, some technical stuff when possible, but automotive information at its best. How are you doing today? Hey, back in the day, when I was younger, as soon as I got my learner's permit, I was able to ride a motorcycle legally. And I borrowed my cousin's, went out, cruised Van Nuys Boulevard. Yes, it was the place to be. Cars on 2 lanes or 4 lanes or whatever it was, both sides of the street, cruising from McDonald's all the way down to June Ellen's and back, watching the people at the different locations. There was the speed shop that always had cars parked in front of it. The Jack in the Box always had guys parked in front of it, getting ready to go out street racing that night. Of course, I never went to those. There was used parking lot where the L.A. County street racers, now called the Brotherhood, would park and gather with all of their members locally, which encompassed maybe 50 or so people at the time. June Ellen's, well, they had the lowriders, or the customs as we called them back in the day. It wasn't an ethnic thing. It was a car thing, and the style of car you enjoyed or liked. There was a Pontiac dealer, Prestige Pontiac, that had the Royal GTO Club. Across the street, right in front of the mortuary, I never figured this one out, was AV Vans. That's right, Associated Vans. They were there, and they'd have 10, 15, maybe 20 cool custom vans parked right on the street in front of the mortuary, which is now a car dealership. The mortuary got torn down. It's now Keys Automotive. But unless you're from Van Nuys, you don't really, doesn't matter what the name of the dealership was. Well, down a little bit further was Century Oldsmobile. Now, Century Oldsmobile had the distinction of sponsoring the Smothers Brothers. Yes, the Smothers Brothers. For those of you old enough to remember, they were a brother team. They did music. They sang. They were a comedy team. They were funny. They were good. They even had their own TV show for a while until the censors kicked them off. But that's another story altogether. But cruising Van Nuys Boulevard, I did that from the time I was 15 and a half until, well, I got married and moved away from the LA area. So I was in my mid-20s when I stopped cruising Van Nuys Boulevard. But by then, the signs were up. You could only go past the sign 2 or maybe 3 times in a night. And the police had the option at that point to pull you over. And they would give you a ticket for cruising. Now, parking, well, that became a problem too, because now you couldn't park on Van Nuys Boulevard at night like we used to. Now, Wednesday night was club night, so all the clubs would get together and they'd park in their individual spots. Friday night, a lot of people were dating, and Saturday and dating, and when you weren't out with your date, you parked on Van Nuys Boulevard, and you cruised Van Nuys Boulevard. And it was open to any and every type of car, whether it was an import, a domestic, a hot rod, a muscle car, a trick truck, or a cool van. They were all on Van Nuys Boulevard, and we cruised until 10, 11, sometimes 12 o'clock at night if the weather was really good. And it was fun. I have friends from that era. As a matter of fact, the hood on my Plymouth got reflamed. That sounds strange. Got painted. The flames got repainted on the car by someone I met when I was 16 years old. And he just did this for me just a few years ago. Unfortunately, he's passed on. I met a number of friends that I still have today. I made new friends. I've made long-lasting friends. And Van Nuys Boulevard and cruising, that was the thing to do. Now, every city, major city, kind of had their own cruising zone. It was immortalized in American Graffiti. And that was pretty much the way it really was. We did those sorts of things. We met people. We chatted with people as we drove down the street. We choose to compete against them, so to speak. Now, I'd never had a performance car to really street race back in those days, so I didn't partake in that aspect of it. But I'll tell you what, I cruised all sorts of cars back in the day. In high school, my first car was a 1959 Simca. Yes, a French car. It was very nice. But unfortunately, I shortened that when I didn't stop for a stop line one time. and a guy in front of me stopped before I could. I broke his taillight and destroyed the front end of my car. The next one was a Ford Falcon. Now, I built that Falcon up. I had all the trick stuff on it. Now, I couldn't afford a muscle car. I blew the 6-cylinder engine in it because, well, didn't have a tack. I didn't know where my shift points were. And that engine got replaced with a bigger 6-cylinder. And then the multiple carburetors got put on it. And then the header, what you weld kit, got put on it that I got from J.C. Whitney. And I cruised that. I put shackles on the back. I made the trunk into a rumble seat so I could carry extra friends. In Metal Shop, I was able to fabricate a roll cage for the car. And I shaved the door handles and did all sorts of stuff between the metal shop I took in high school and auto shop. But it was my car. And it was my first real hot kind of car. So I built that up. And I cruised Van Nuys Boulevard with it till I went in the service. And then the car went away and it was replaced, a year or so later by another car. And I cruised Van Nuys Boulevard with that and legitimately drag raced at Orange County Raceway. But what I'm getting to here is cruising. It was part of the youth culture of the time. And it was a great way to meet people, make friends. It was a rolling car show, and we enjoyed it. But over the years, many cities and municipalities banned cruising, thinking it was something bad, something that would cause problems, and something that, well, we really didn't understand. Well, strangely enough, here in California, the land of fruit and nuts and hot rods and more, where we have heard lately, and I'm one of the people that spread the information, that California was really not happy with our hot rods and our old cars, our classic cars, our collector cars. Well, guess what? A little turn of events. Just the other day, Governor Newsom, you gotta love this guy, maybe, signed a bill that was supported by SEMA, or the SAN division of SEMA, the enthusiast division, legislation AB 436. This law is allowing automobile cruising activities to return statewide. This could be interesting. Now, there's been some cruises, as they call them today, but those are misnomers. Really, you drive over someplace, you park in a parking lot, and that's considered a cruise. It's not driving. It's not cruising. Now, some of the car clubs, like a few here, have taken upon themselves to form in a parking lot and then go out on a long cruise, a long maybe an hour cruise in a line. Well, some of the cities have been fighting that, and not necessarily saying it's illegal for you guys all to be driving on the same street at the same time during broad daylight hours, but what they would do was they would park their police cars and officers in strategic locations to ensure it didn't look like an illegal parade. And in some cases, fix-it tickets or vehicle code violations were done. Not necessarily street violations such as excessive speed and things of that nature. The people that were cruising were pretty cool about that. But they were not happy with the cars getting together and the people getting together like that. Now, this became very popular during the COVID issues because, well, you couldn't go to a car show, you couldn't go to a car meet, but hey, if you're driving, you're more than 6 feet apart, right? Yeah, well, that's what happened, and that's what they did. But now, you can't do anything about that, or can you? Well, until January at least. January 1st, 2024, this new law goes into effect. Now, previously, local authorities were authorized to pass ordinance to regulate or prohibit cruising. I just said that, basically. Well, authored by Assembly Member David Alvarez, a Democrat from San Diego. His efforts follows a resolution approved by the legislature last year to celebrate the history and culture of automobile cruising and encourage local officers and officials, law enforcement, and so forth to work with local car clubs to conduct safe cruising events. The law will go into effect January 1st, 2024. Now, where are you going to be able to cruise? Check with your local authorities to find out what's going to happen. I bet you, for me, in the San Fernando Valley of Southern California, Van Nuys Boulevard will start their cruising activities once again. Now, it's been regulated. They've been doing it once a month, but it's gotten very minimal turnout. Now that it's going to be legal again, and the city really can't stop it, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to bring my old cars out, and I'm going to cruise Van Nuys Boulevard. Where are you going to cruise? Post it. Let us know where your cruise site is, where you're going to be cruising, and what you're going to be cruising in. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas cruising into a new era of rodding here in Southern California. You have a great day. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas, the Great American Auto Scene. Please like, share, and, well, listen to me. Sometimes I say things that are important. You can subscribe to my channel on YouTube, where you might be watching this right now. Have a great day, and don't forget about our other show, Randy Kerdoon and myself, talking about cars. Also on YouTube, part of PowerTube TV. You can find us on YouTube, Roku, and a host of other sites, including PowerTube TV. Watch PowerTube TV. You have a great day, folks. I'm Hot Rod Bob. Again, you've got gas. Have a great day.